Yeah, now we are live. All right, perfect.
Okay.
I'll just start with like introducing Uzbek Diaspora and just kind of like about our event today. Hi,
Okay.
everyone. Welcome to Uzbek Diaspora's interview series with Kamilla Sultanova. We are so excited to have her and to talk with her about all the things that she's going to talk today. I am so excited about today's interview and a little bit about me. My name is Kamilla Sultanova. I
Mhm.
am part of Uzbek Diaspora, and in the past, I have worked in different companies, and I currently study finance and marketing, and in New York. And I am just so excited to talk with you, as you are one of those women who support women, who are always toward women, and I have always adored you for that. And it is for kind of great success to have you here today. And so right now I will kind of I think our people know a lot about you, and
Wow.
we are actually excited to hear a lot about you, about your journey. What have you done, and how can you teach others about that? And so now I will give this stage to Kamilla Sultanova to kind of introduce herself, to tell
Mhm.
yourself, and yeah, and so thank you, and you can go ahead.
Thank you, Shahla. Assalamu alaikum. It's a big joy and honor to be with you. It's for me, it's kind of a historical, because at the time when you launched this platform, I was so happy to see it on LinkedIn that the time has come together as Uzbeks and really celebrate our heritage, our togetherness, our spirit, our roots.
Yes.
So I'm Kamilla Sultanova. I'm based in Helsinki, Finland, originally from Karshi, Kashkadarya. And I'm 37. I spent 20 years abroad. And the last 3 years has been incredibly enriching and getting back to my Uzbek identity, getting back to my Uzbek roots, and building connections through Uzbek diaspora in many countries. And I'm working, I have my own consulting company, Connectus, and I'm a speaker, I'm an event host, and diversity inclusion expert. Good to be here.
Thank you so much to introducing yourself. I'm so excited that you kind of told where were you actually from and where were you born. That's very exciting. And I'm pretty sure we have a lot of people, followers who are actually from Kashi as well. And so now can you kind of tell us about like where did you study in Uzbekistan, or how was your journey started from Uzbekistan, and how did you came to Helsinki, or where you are
All
today?
right. So my journey starts back in '98, because I got this idea that there you could study abroad, and this happens to be in the US. And I got a scholarship in 1999 from a Flex program, Future Leaders Exchange, and I got to study in San Antonio, Texas. So whoever's in Texas, hello there. And so I went there when I was 15. So the best thing that happened already, which was like a first mover thing, is that I got a passport when I was 15, and you're supposed to get it at 16.
Yeah.
And it took a bit of like, getting the police to give it to me so I could travel, and it happened. So I was super lucky. Then I came back in 2000. Changed my life, obviously, being a year away. And then I entered the University of World Languages. But that didn't take long, because I was bored and I enjoyed my student life, but I wanted to do more. And so in 2002, I got a placement in Denmark in a vocational college, 2-year college, to study multimedia design. And I was 18. So that was my journey to Denmark. And 12 years just went crazy, studying, living, working, finding myself. And last 7 years, I'm in Finland. But this is not through school. This is already in my second career life cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so great. I didn't know that you were in the United States.
Yes,
I
I
didn't
was.
know that you were in the United States, and
Yeah.
how you went from United States to different country, because most of the people think that like you came to the United States, that's it, the rest of your life will be in
That's
the
it.
United States. But
That's
you
right.
decided to move to Finland, which is great. And I think that
Yeah.
Finland is one of those most beautiful countries that you can ever travel to, and that's so great. How did you
Yeah.
decide on that?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to go back to Texas when I was thinking like, okay, I've been abroad. This changed my life. I really learned how to be dependent. You need to make your own decision, your opinion. But I couldn't get a visa because I was too young, and the embassy didn't grant me visa, and I was quite depressed.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was working in a hotel as a secretary, and still was engaged with lots of different cultures in Tashkent, but it was difficult already to move from Karshi to Tashkent and like find yourself there.
Yeah.
And still I didn't feel like, oh, this is not a place for me. And so I wanted to go back. I didn't. But then, do you know this newspaper Darakchi?
Yes.
Yeah, so I
Very
was at
safe.
home with my sister. I owe my teenage years to my sister. She lived in Tashkent. She moved from Karshi to Tashkent with her family. So I lived with them for 2 years. And then I read that magazine, and there was the only ad. It was like in English, study in Denmark. I was like, Denmark? Hello. And then I just gave it a try and applied on the last day. I was running on high heels from my lunch break at the hotel to deliver my application on the 4th floor.
Yeah.
And it managed. I got to an interview. They came 2 Danish teachers, and they granted me a space, even though they said, you're too young to live abroad. I was like, no, I was an exchange student in the US. You can trust me. I'm going to make it. Yeah, so it was because I couldn't get a visa there. For me, Europe was my second best choice. And it was for free. Of course, I had to get some money to live, but I got quickly like student jobs after. And for Finland, where I'm now, I moved to join my husband, who lives in Finland.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
great. That's so great because I especially love how you were so motivated, how you're never afraid of going to different country without anyone that you know, right?
No.
It's hard, and I don't think I could ever do the same thing, because when I came to United States, I came with my parents. I came with my
Okay.
family. And you went
Right.
alone, which might be very scaring for you, but you were so like that's strong
Yeah.
that you actually did that, and I'm so proud of that. And I wish more Uzbek girls could do that to chase their dreams, to do what they wish to do. And I think that's wonderful. And I think
Yeah.
that we should always urge girls to chase their dreams and do what they love to do.
Absolutely.
That's
I think we get hungry for opportunities basis
yeah.
on how we face the difficulties, or on the
Mhm.
other side of the axis, if someone really believes in you, then you're like, hell yeah, I got someone on my back and I'm gonna do it because someone supports you. I felt at some way, in one way, my family supported, they trusted me. But on the other hand, I knew there was a life out there. I could live better life abroad, or I could get better opportunities abroad as a girl, and I could live my freedom. Like, this word freedom was just something I was yearning for.
Yes.
And when you're a teenager, if you're not broken, you have that absolute like fearless fear, like a courage that Brené Brown talks about. But I think it really is how much you want, where you want to go. At least there has to be some spark that you need to believe that there's something out there that I want to pursue. And that's I got lots of mentors already in high school in Karshi. They said that, hey, there's life out there, so go for it. So I studied English well. That was my only way to opportunity to see the world. So I do encourage all the girls to think like, yes, if it's piano, if it's English, if it's German, whatever it is, you really need to stick into it and use that as an opportunity to excel where you want to be.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a very important reminder to all the girls out there to always go for what you want to do and be fearless.
Right.
I think it's a great,
Mm.
important reminder for them. So can you tell me a little bit about your education? What did you study in Denmark? So now that you are in Denmark from Uzbekistan, what did you study? How was your studies going? What
Yeah.
are some of the difficulties that you faced as a student?
As a student, yeah. So when I moved there, I was lucky to live in a dorm. So my first community was a dorm with students of, Danish students, and then the other 2 floors, it was a 4-floor dorm. The other 2 floors were super international, belonging to Aarhus University. So Aarhus in Denmark is like second largest city, 50,000 students. It was super young and bubbly, and a nice, really nice place for students to be around. So we had the best student age of all the Uzbek students that were there. We were 8 Uzbek students, 8 Macedonian, 8 Chinese, and then the rest were Danish. Studying multimedia design, it was to like, how do you build websites? How do you, promote and do marketing? How do you code? What are the organizational, behavior, organizational studies? So we did this. It's a basic 2-year degree. And then I went to bachelor degree, international communication and marketing. So just to kind of go back, I wanted to be a dancer first when I was a kid. And then that was laughed at. They're like, are you stupid? Jinda Masan, And then it was like something you do for a hobby. Then I wanted to be a journalist because there was the same person, Kamilla Sultanova, on TV when I was a kid. And I was like, oh my God, she's on TV. That means I can be too. And then the stereotype was in my head, like, well, it's either career or family. You know what I mean? Our stereotypical choice of careers. And so I was like, yeah, I want to go abroad and, like be a reporter, just, share information, because in our country, in the whole post-Soviet world, information was always hidden. I wanted to make information available to everyone. And so that was kind of a bummer. And I said, okay, at least I'll study communication and see where it will take me.
Mm-hmm.
So then I did bachelor in communication marketing. I had some Uzbek students studying the same with me. It was in a tiny town. It was really difficult. We were not so welcome there, because in 2002, when I moved, that was just after 2001, what happened in New York City, the blast 9/11 events, and everything with Islam, it would just turn into huge Islamophobia. I mean, Uzbekistan, Stan was enough to be, quite stereotypical about us. And I felt like really unwanted. People would shout in the streets, like, you should speak Danish here. You're in Denmark. I was like, what? In that small town, not in Aarhus. Aarhus was fine. But there was racism, there was ignorance, there was feeling of the other. And when I would call for jobs, they wouldn't answer the phone because they would hear English speech, right? So they would just put the phone on me. I cleaned offices for 6 years. I delivered newspapers. I worked in, cleaned ships. I cleaned cafes, terminals, car delivery services, companies. I've done all kinds of jobs to really make it. But, making your own money makes you feel so strong. You're like, you don't give a damn. You just have your own life. You make your own choices. And it just made me more alive and much more, strong on my feet. And then when I got the scholarship. So what happens is, in Denmark, you had to pay for education after 2004. So I had to suddenly I find like 10,000 euro per year for my master's studies. And I was like, oh, well, I don't have that. And so I applied for a grant. And then I was like, really after the admissions guy, I was like, listen, you got to give me the scholarship. I need to stay here. I want to get my master's degree. And it was in business school in Aarhus. It's like top 100 in the world. And I got that scholarship. There were 4 scholarships for the whole school. And I was so lucky to get it. And so I did graduate degree in corporate communication. So what do you do with that degree? It's super wide. You study anything from investor relations, change management, human resource management, and then you study how marketing, integrated marketing. So really building communication strategies for global companies like Nokia or Carlsberg or Lego, all those fancy Danish companies. Yeah, so that was my studies. And then luckily I didn't have to clean offices for so long. I got a marketing survey, student job in this marketing survey company. That was awesome.
Yeah, that is so great. Thank you for sharing your journey and your career, and I'm so proud of where you are today, because no matter what happened in your life, you stood very strong, no matter difficulties, you stood up very strong, and that you are here today, and I'm very happy for that. And I hope and wish that every girl can do the same, that they can stand up strong even though there's a lot of difficulties, and I think that same thing applies to all the people that are abroad. They go through a lot of difficulties, and it is true. It's very a real thing where people go through a lot of difficulties, but no matter what, they learn to be strong, and I think that those of your difficulties really made you who you are today, making you one of the strongest person,
we grow through our challenges. Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
believe.
and you build your own bridges, you build your own networks, communities.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, you can't wait for someone to do it for you. You need to do it yourself. Like grab onto it because you want the best for yourself and people around you. I think that's something to remember.
Exactly. And when you were in Helsinki, were you involved in any Uzbek communities? Were you part of any Uzbek communities? Was there?
Yeah.
I know you
So
told me there was a little amount of.
yeah, there's a few. So, giving a context on, my connection with Uzbek diaspora, I've been always, I guess we're all ambassadors for our culture. Anytime you wear an adras, this Uzbek dresses is like always a way to celebrate. And we started with international days and, in schools and then universities and companies, always wear the hat. You see those Uzbek hats. I'm super
Yes,
proud of
they're
our,
beautiful.
cultural artifacts. And, any Navruz holiday, it would never pass without me. In Denmark, we would always get together. There is a Central Asian society in Copenhagen. We would always get together in Aarhus as students. Somebody will always make plov, samsa. We were never like missing food. But then I moved to Finland. There is a Yulduz, a Central Asian society here with a beautiful Moldopa. She's from Bukhara. She's been here for many years. She's also my dental hygienist, by the way. She's super
Aw.
woman. And so there is a sizable community here from all across Central Asia, not so big though. And then there's a huge Khwarezm community who are in construction.
Mhm.
And then, so we do meet. Of course, COVID has been quite
Yeah.
annoying because we couldn't meet. But last year, we really quickly adapted to a digital Navruz. We were listening to a DJ Ham. So there's Hamdam Zakirov. He's a poet from Fergana, but he's a DJ now. So he plays like old Uzbek LPs, which are like nowhere to find. And I will share with you the link. It's absolutely like a gut find. And he's great. So he recorded that. He used to play live for us on Navruz. And now all of those videos are on YouTube.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And no
somebody
worries.
entered the room. That was the reason.
No
It's
worries.
so hard, especially with the time when and like this, where like you have a family, right? And they always
Yeah.
enter the room, and they can never leave you alone.
Yeah.
But I apologize.
No worries.
Yeah,
No
that
worries.
is so
So
great. No, that is so
there
great
is.
that
Yeah, as a speaker, I get to travel and I got to really meet a lot of people from across the world. In South Korea, there was a nice Uzbek event we did in South Korea's business school. Babur has been an amazing host. And then there is community I met in Geneva. I was there on a strategy retreat with Global Dignity NGO, which I'm heading in Finnish as like a Finnish chapter. And so we got to see a big picnic in Geneva, and all the people from Switzerland came around. And then I met the community in Sochi, in Russia, at the International Volunteer Forum just a year and a half ago, 2019. And it's amazing. Of course, I have been with Büyük Gelecek and Yaşar İttifakı organizations. So they brought a lot of compatriots to Uzbekistan at different events. So I've been really getting to know people last 3 years, as I said.
that's so great because there's a lot of communities in New York as well where we kind of try to celebrate it together and,
Right.
also feel like we are still at home because I think everyone does miss the home, like
Absolutely.
memories
Yeah.
when you were a child and your mom was making those food, and it's just like the best feeling ever. So I think that everyone does misses that. Could you tell me a little more about your like speakers event? I know that I have been following you, little bit story. I have been following you for a very long time, and I've seen all of your events and I've watched all of your events. They're so inspirational. They're so beautiful. I have even
Thank
watched your events with UN and all the other things that you have done. It is amazing. I am so, so proud that there is a Uzbek woman that's always in those very big events. Presenting Uzbekistan, because I also attend a lot of events and I feel like there isn't much Uzbek people, I feel like there
you.
isn't much Uzbek people live on those events where there is a lot of a big part of it is like white
Right.
people or different ethnicities, but there isn't much Uzbek people, and I'm so proud to know that there's Uzbeks that are doing great things and attending all those great events and being a
Right.
part of it as well. And so, would you tell us a little bit about your journey on how being a spokesperson and having your own brand? And I think that is very important.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that you've seen some of my speaking recordings, and being online. It means that you're really out there. So my career is in shipping. When I graduated, it was in 2008, and all the jobs were wiped out. And I was promised a job in any beautiful global company in Denmark, but then I just needed to settle for anything that pays my salary, pays my bills, because Finland, Denmark is one of the happiest nations, but also one of the most expensive countries to live in. And I got into container trading. So I have first career is shipping. And oh, is that some echo here?
You think so?
No,
I think can hear you.
That's fine. Yeah. So the first career is in shipping, container trading. So I used to trade those secondhand containers to, God know where to God know who. But it was really interesting journey to find yourself in a sea world. We come from a landlocked country, and suddenly you're dealing with captains, you're dealing with terminals. I traveled to, 15, 20 countries. And I'm really grateful that to open a whole new world for myself rather than just being in communications. And my second career life cycle, which I do right now, is in 2018, I started my own, because in 2017, I went to learn Finnish. I took time off, and I was 8 months in this really Speedy Gonzales Finnish class. Mä puhun ihan hyvin suomea, mutta en niin sujuvasti kuin tanskaa. That was Finnish, by the way. I said I'm pretty good at speaking Finnish, but not as fluent still as Danish.
Wow, that was really good. It's kind of similar to English, no?
Well, I don't know. For me, it's a very secretive language, because only 5.5 million speak it the same way as Danish language. But so building your own consulting, I felt like I'm so interested in so many things, and I didn't want to limit myself just to either containers or like specific industries. So I thought I also started as an activist. I've been really like pushing social change. I was so much like advocate of change in Denmark towards, immigrants on the job market, towards immigrant women to come into and be more visible, and also hold this anti-racism, promoting anti-racism. And so I said, okay, let me share my story, because I've been running youth empowering events in Finland with Global Dignity. And it started by Crown Prince of Norway and Finnish philosopher Pekka Himanen. And I was so happy to get the opportunity. I was like, but who am I to do these events in Finland? Mm-hmm. And they just saw that, of course, they looked at my CV, and I did a lot of stuff in Finland, in Denmark. I was already with European young leaders. So I had already like solid reputation and solid work done before that. So I started working with secondary schools here in Helsinki. And while I was inviting people to share their story of dignity and making them overcoming challenges to make it in Finland, then a friend of mine said, listen, you need to share your story.
Yes.
And I was like, but no, I'm not a big deal. No. I was just lucky, And then I got all the courage, and I said, okay, maybe I should apply for the TED Talk. So it really happened with delivering a TED Talk in May 2018. And I was mobbed for being a volunteer for many years. And like, why would you do work unpaid? And I just felt this was so unfair, because I got the larger than life opportunities. And so I said, I'm going to do about volunteering. So that was it. After that, I started being invited to different, panel debates. So like, how do we promote inclusion, diversity in Finland or also in Europe, and showcasing, this whole idea that you have a voice. And so my main message to anyone who's listening is, I told my whole story of being always the other in my small mahalla in Karshi, and growing up in Tashkent, or even going to Russia and them commenting on your, хорошо говорите по-русски. I was like, come on, I went to Russian school. So it's like always being the other in every country, but for me, building bridges was volunteering. Building bridges was really being out there in your community. And I said that your gender and your origin is not an obstacle to live a full life. And I still repeat this today because look at COVID. Gender-based violence went 60% up in some places. It's crazy in Central Asia. It's even crazy in Finland, being one of the countries with high gender-based domestic violence in Finland, across Europe. So I think that idea that I already wanted to prove my case, becoming this change maker and speaking the cause of different target audiences, I thought I will work with lots of actors, stakeholders, bringing people together and saying like why we need each other to succeed and why we need to export each other's ideas, export each other, know-how, like from Finland to Uzbekistan is education, equality, social innovations. And then in Finland, what I'm doing right now is I'm working on cross-sectoral collaboration. So like, why would companies work with universities on creating more jobs, creating more employment for international students? Because I was there myself. I know how hard it is to get that transition, And so it's really fascinating to use this experiences, but also Finland. It's a unique country to build those experiences and make them count. And you in America, you guys are amazing in storytelling. You're amazing in networking. And I got that under my skin with lots of American networks, German Marshall Fund. I got to be part of that as well. So how do you build bridges across Atlantic? So suddenly there's different platforms where you can build your identity and then you get the best of each country. So I got the best from the US. It's being able to network, being able to build coalitions to like really cooperate and build each other's successes. Then from Denmark, you got they're also quite cool. I mean, they're known to be quite outspoken, a bit bizarre, but Danes they're proud to be Danes, but they also are very good at commercial, they're good at sales. Finns are very much in resilience. They're reliable. I mean, there's so much of different values that I take, and of course, Uzbek values.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Going back to what you were saying about like networking, building brand, and building your own brand and speaking up. I think those are very, very important. Coming from my own experience.
Okay.
I recently started sharing my own story on LinkedIn, right? Maybe it's already been a long time, but I still can't believe like the time went so fast, and that COVID happened and everything happened, and just like the time went so fast, like it's already 2021, and you can't believe it is. And recently, when I started sharing my story, more people started recognizing me, and more people started appreciating who I am and my story and my journey. And and I want to say that too. Like, you shouldn't be afraid of your story. You should actually be proud of your story. You should be proud of sharing your own story, yourself. And I think it's one of your strengths, not your weaknesses. Many people take that as a weakness. Many people take your story saying that, oh, I was from this country, I went through this. That is not your weakness. That is actually your strength. To talk about it, to share that with people, it is one of your strengths. And many people start their own brand, kind of your brand, your own brand on many platforms on social media, especially right now, which is LinkedIn is one of the greatest platforms to share your own brand, right? They share so that a lot of recruiters can get to know them, right? A lot of recruiters can get to know their story, to know more about them. But it's also about sharing your story to more people, not just recruiters, right? You're actually creating so many opportunities for yourself when you're creating that brand, when you're sharing that story, and I think that is very, very important. And since you have a very great experience, what would you recommend for people in Uzbekistan, which they don't have a lot of LinkedIn, they don't really know networking, they don't really use that? What would you recommend doing as a startup? Like, how would you recommend start? How would
Are we talking on a specific age group? If you can.
maybe like those college students that are
Yeah.
looking for a job, or maybe like 18 to 25 or older,
Right.
18 to 30. Hmm.
Right. I mean, I've been working, speaking in Uzbekistan since 18, and I can see that a lot of people don't know who they are, and I think so totally normal because a lot of times we're living by the rules of our families, rules of our society, expectations, norms, uyat, all these, and so you kind of when you don't have empathy to yourself, you don't know who you are, and you're like always like either in shame or whatever, like you're not authentic yourself. So I think the first thing is to validate, okay, what's your own voice,
Hmm.
and to start building your little portfolio. So the way you recruiters look here in Finland, let's say, and the difference between from when I graduated. So the expectations to you, if you're looking for a scholarship, if you're looking for a first job, is that you don't only have a degree and good grades or internship. You also need to show how passionate you are, and this is when the online presence comes in.
Hmm.
And when you don't have so much to show that, okay, I haven't done much volunteering because there isn't just available in my country, or I haven't done much that somebody validates my experience, that I'm good enough, you need to just think, okay, where in your environment, in your mahalla, in your city, you can be useful. Let's say a kindergarten. Can you be a mentor? A kindergarten for like, teaching English. So just do something that you turn your skills into something valuable. So when you give back, it creates already some thing called impact. Yeah. And right now we have 60% of Uzbekistan are young people with limited opportunities, limited skills. And so can you do something that just makes somebody else's day life better? And then hopefully you become a part of community of those people who building these either like education centers, you come into a physical culture like sports community, or even if you're in your little professional hobby community, right? That brings you to a collective, someone become part of the group. So it's important to find people who are like-minded, because lots of young people in Finland right now are super lonely and isolated. Across the world is the same, but it's because they feel I'm alone in this situation. And this is so not true. And I wish there was a one advice to myself. I would say, I wish I would tell that, listen, there's not one Kamilla feeling the other in my mahalla or my country or even in Denmark. There is always someone you could join and share those experiences and build up on. So do something good for others, because it's going to give back to you even more, because that's the synergy effect. You build your name up, you build your self-worth, and you build your confidence that you're good at something. And then you need to start doing sports. You just need to start to whatever sports you want to dance, you can dance, but at least you need to build a little capacity, showing to yourself that you're able to reach little goals, and you can get a little bit of discipline with it.
Hmm.
So I interviewed women champion last summer. It was one of the best webinars during pandemic, and I can share it with you. Those women, they said how much sports build up your character, regardless your gender, builds up your character, builds up your routines, builds up your beautiful rituals, builds up your community and team building. There's Maftuna. I think you know Maftuna,
Yes.
as our beautiful swimmer in New York. She always says, like, it follows you through life, and you can use whatever skills in sports in your professional life. So do it, which I didn't grow up with
Yeah.
because I wasn't allowed to. So parents, siblings do encourage each other to stay fit, especially now.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I think it is very, very important thing to know. And I love Maftuna. She's one of the most amazing women out there, and she's also doing her own project where she's doing many webinars to help
Yes,
other women,
exactly.
moms, and I am so amazed by how it doesn't stop her, being a mother, being and doing all of that. It doesn't stop her, and I am so happy that she's chasing her dream, and she should be really happy too. And I'm just so excited, and I'm always supporting her. And I think that sport has a lot to do with this as well. When
Mhm.
I think that we, especially when you burn from work, there is a lot of burnouts, and it's always to do something good, I especially do a lot of yoga, and I also play tennis, and it really does make me happy.
That's
It's
amazing.
also does create a routine for you as well, because
Right.
the more that you move your body, the more energy you get, and that makes you like so much happy. And and I think that it creates
Yeah.
more energy, and so I think it's great.
But Shaklo, tell me what made you or how you took this first step to do yoga and play tennis. Who encouraged you or how did you get that?
Yeah, so for tennis, I have been playing since a young age. I have
Okay.
I think since I was 10 or 12, and
Mm-hmm.
I decided to do that because back in Uzbekistan, when I was that age, I wasn't very active. I was just would go to school, come back home, and wouldn't do any
Yeah.
kind of sports. And while I think that there's a thing where parents morely focus on their uh, sons because they want them to be healthy. So my brother would go to tennis, he would go to swimming, but I wouldn't, because my parents would kind of say that it's not for girls, it's not swimming isn't for girls, just like don't do those things. But there
Okay.
was a time where I said, I really wanted to go. I really want to do because I really wanted to do it. I would see people play tennis and I would want to do the same.
That's
And
right.
and then I started doing that and I loved it, the energy it gives me, and I feel like, oh, she's listening. Aftuna actually joined us, so she's listening.
That's nice. Hi, Maftuna.
Yeah, and then and the fact that like
And hi everyone else, by the way. Yes.
oh yeah, we forgot to say that. It gave me so much energy, and then whenever I felt stressed, I would go to tennis and I would just start playing. It
Mm,
would make me so happy. And I started doing yoga recently because I got burned out a lot, especially with COVID. I was home, I wasn't moving, I just felt like
right.
completely like unmotivated. I was like, oh, what is the point of my life? There was a point where I was just like completely in a dark space, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna start my day. You know what, I really want to focus on myself. I'm just gonna go and have a candle, my favorite candle, do a little stretch, do a yoga, and just not do anything for like 10 minutes and just relax. And it was the best thing I did for myself. And
Yeah.
that actually created a routine for me where I started my mornings with yoga.
Mm,
And the minute I do yoga, I feel better, and then I start doing my work, and then everything goes better.
right.
And eventually I started swimming, which I was very afraid of. I was very afraid of swimming because I drowned once. But and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I can do it. And then I started doing
Right.
that too. And I started doing swimming. I was part of varsity soccer in high school, and yeah, and it just made me such a happy person. And I
Yeah.
think that's important for every girl.
I think so. Yeah, we should definitely more do promote more bridges to Uzbek girls across abroad and in Uzbekistan that sports belong to everyone. I started this platform Uzbekistan with a female voice, and where we bring in speakers to just share that there's enough role models
Yes.
like yourself, like Maftuna. We have so many good speakers, men and women, by the way. It's not just, we just want to bring in more visibility for women who need to be empowered and need to be as constructive members of society as anyone else.
Yeah.
So definitely your voice is also needed in bringing the whole generation forward.
Yeah, I think so too. Before then, I didn't really did have my own voice. I until I came here, I studied. I got mentors. I
Yes,
had a lot of mentors that helped me to find my
exactly.
own voice.
Right.
They really did told me, I believe in you. And
Mm,
that's how I think that a lot of Uzbek girls need the same. A lot
yeah.
of in Uzbekistan need the same that says, I believe in you. You can do it. You can do anything that you want to do. And you being so fearless to go to different country and start your life there, it is unbelievable. And I'm so proud that you actually made that journey, and you believed in yourself. And I think that many girls need that voice, many girls need that courage to do that things.
Yeah, I would just say that I didn't believe in myself all the time when I did that. Of course, I was fearless. I had to do it because I needed to make my own money. I needed to make my own decisions. But it was also to prove that I could do it myself. So just to say that I'm 37 now, and a lot of friends around me are still being judged by their families
Mhm.
for the lifestyle, for the choices. I'm married to a Finn. I don't have kids. And those pressures, they go up with age. So you need to really find yourself a comfortable state where people are going to be uncomfortable with you.
Yeah.
I saw so much violence in my family. I saw unemployed women who are just at home, and anything that even if I'm succeeding, I'm doomed. If I don't succeed, I'm also doomed. Do you understand? So we need to manage those negative voices and chatter and shaming and guilt tripping, so that you just know that there is a place of self-love, and there should be at least one person who believes in you, because parents may not always believe in you or support you. And so I just wanted to say that life is not like what you see on Instagram, or you see it so polished for somebody. Everyone has struggles, and everyone went through crap through this COVID. But I just want to say that even if your closest circle is supposed to give you safety, don't give it. It's enough with one person, and that could be a mentor, that could be someone, I don't know, a dorm manager. That was for me in Denmark in the beginning. So that you just fake it till you make it, but then actually you really thank yourself for the courage that you faced, instead of being out there like, I'm not taking the first step, or I'm not taking the jump.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I think one of your first sentences that you said was very important, where you said that I didn't really believe in myself all the time, and I think that many people need to hear that it is okay to not to say.
Yeah.
I don't really trust myself. I don't believe in myself. It's okay to feel like that, sometimes, because I think we all go through those phases where we are really down and we don't feel ourselves. But there's always a comeback, right?
Yeah.
There's always a comeback where you feel empowered, where you feel
Yeah.
motivated, and you're so willing to do everything that you want to do, and I think that that is one of the reasons that we always should look forward to living, and going back to the experience that you said, that it is important that we share our experiences so that others can share it too. Other women can stand up for themselves and share it, and so thank you for that.
Sure. I think the more we see, the more we believe. So one of the hashtags I use to make people believe in each other, regardless, race, gender, religion, is that seeing is believing. And I bring it through stories. A lot of times girls are not allowed their freedoms to study or freedoms to do hobbies. Even in best countries in the world, like Denmark and Finland, we have a lot of this whole mentality of we get utër, and you're controlled of your mobility, and that's called negative social control. And at the same time, if you use it as an education, you want to get education, there are ways to get out of these pressures that we grow up with. And a lot of times girls come to me from abroad and write to me, Kamilla Opa, I'm trying to find myself in a new country. It's so difficult. And I was like, okay, are your parents with you? They're like, yeah. And I must say, I'm sorry to say this, but our culture is so strict that if my parents lived here, I'm not sure I'm going to reach that level of success. Because they think they would impose their decisions because they think they know better. So one of the values that I've learned here on your own is that age doesn't mean expertise. Family doesn't mean expertise. If you want to make more money, you go person who deals with wealth management. If you want to be a speaker, you don't go to the best speaker in your family necessarily. You could, but go to the person who actually is an expert, subject matter expert. And we grow up with such an amazing and deep understanding of age difference. And of course we need to hurmat qilish kerak. I know, but that always, you forget this yourself, and you need to balance it out that, yes, I want to be part of this community, but if that community is choking your voice, you probably want to ask for advice elsewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, that navigating that social control, navigating and really choosing your freedom with like good arguments, saying, listen, I need to get education, I need my new hobbies. You get a long way even if you're abroad.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that is very important to hear.
Yeah.
For me and for many other people, I think that is very important. Especially when it comes to men, they may not feel that way, but when it comes to girls, we do feel that, and we know that, and
Mhm.
from you, it is very important, and for many people. And so, thank you for sharing that. And I think it is beautiful, and I think that that's something that makes you so unique about you. It's just your experiences, your journey, and where you are today. It is amazing, and I'm so proud that you're still so strong, even if there are so many people that are throwing stones at you and just judging you, not knowing who you actually are. And
Yeah.
that is something that you should be really, really proud of. And so, going to the next step of our interview, could you tell me a little bit about success? What success is to you, and do you define yourself as successful?
Hmm.
Hard question. I'm sorry.
No, it's nice. I think success is really is when you is that feeling when you reach something that you put your mind into, and it can be seen in a happy customer, exceeding expectations, but also really figuring out that success is mine, is
Yeah.
owning your success, not just for somebody else to do it, like someone validating, but it's when you're yourself satisfied. I'm very self-critical, so in that sense, when I do something good, I want to give it 150%.
Mhm.
And that success is also accepting sometimes that somebody's 80% is enough instead. So I mean, it's like setting your expectations realistically, because sometimes being perfect without about success can keep you in the back. I mean, keep you behind.
Yeah, definitely. And do you think that you're successful?
I think I'm successful in regards to what I wanted. I didn't think that, I could be a speaker. I could never dream about, I was always this shy girl. And showing up for yourself every day when you don't have events, when events are canceled. And I just had my birthday on 6th February, and people are telling me like, thank you. People are like, oh, this is Miss Positivity. I was like, what, me? Oh, yeah, I'm happy. Yeah. I mean, I'm born this way. I don't want to be shy of my smiles. And I think I'm successful in being me, and that no one has corrupted me to be different. And I lead, my values are integrity. I lead with compassion. I want to really be valuable, and this hospitality, which is I have from Uzbekistan. And yeah, and so I think in that sense, I'm successful in finding ways to be useful to my different customers. Building connection to Uzbekistan has been amazing. I'm not saying that it's easy to build a speaker market in Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
I don't think people have that understanding yet, but I'm glad to see that whatever I've been reaching, I reached around 5,000 students in Uzbekistan, online, offline. And I can see now those students young people that I spoke to, they're talking about mentoring. They're talking and starting their NGOs in volunteering. They're starting women empowerment events online. And so like, you don't need to be a few, but you see that the seeds that you throw, they grow. And if they don't grow, it's not meant to grow every time.
Mhm.
So I have, of course, it's subjective that how life is right now. We need to be able to adapt fast in the COVID times to still make revenue, to create different products that people will use. So I put myself two different big goals for this year is to present in Finnish. So I'm taking Finnish courses every Tuesday. And then I want to do an online course on community building for young people. And so
Yeah.
to reach more people, to say how to belong, how to stand out. So that is my way of really also adapting to this.
Mhm. That is so great that you take the Finnish class and you're going to the next level of
More classes. Yeah. I mean, I can, but you need to speak a bit more to like be a great speaker, you know? So
So yeah, I understand. I think that it's always so important, but you know English, which is the most important still, so that you can do
yeah.
events in different countries and different places. Now that you are in, we are in this online event where you can actually give a speech in different country, but you don't have to be in a different country. You can just do it
Right.
at home, which is, I think, a great
And I'm
opportunity.
happy to, yeah, I'm happy to really serve Uzbek diaspora with, you know, public speaking courses. How do you build a story with Uzbek roots? Because it's, you need to know the frame of reference. So I'm glad to coach you, and or maybe we do like a different group,
Yes.
like offering on a webinars, because I've done a lot of speaker coaching and I find it so, it's so liberating when you finally someone, you give someone that opportunity to share that story, and say, "Oh my God, I have a voice." I was like, "God damn, you do have a voice. Just like get out with it." And um, it's absolutely, it's a pleasure to reach this far and share it with others. Yes, also parents,
Yeah, that is so important.
also parents. Yeah,
That is great. That what you're doing is that you are actually like helping others to become who they are, to actually speak up, right? Because
yeah,
it is very important. You know, as a person, I know that many people don't believe that, where they are not really into like social media. They just keep away from social media, but actually, like
right.
speaking your voice and bringing your ideas to the world is very important, and many people are going to start recognizing you, which is the most great. And another question for you is that what are some of the skills that you think that are good for to be successful? What are some of the, do you recommend, like what are some of the skills and some
Yeah.
things?
So the skills. So you need to be good with people. I think right now you can use all the technology to smart your way out there, but you need to still navigate the human environment and how to build a connection, so that you make yourself interesting for others. And I think Uzbeks, we should never take on for granted our skill of building relationships, because we've been through so much different environments. We're a multicultural, diverse country. We've been through different, let's say, life chapters, and so we know how to avoid conflicts, because we know kind of we can predict conflicts, and that makes us great negotiators, great salespeople. I mean, it's a trading, it's a Silk Road. I say we have it in our DNA, this idea of like, you know, connecting, and you're curious, you're humorous. And so this is something makes us already stand out in a crowd, as long as you're not, you know, you cultivate that. I think you cultivate your curiosity yourself, and that means bringing your cultural values and turning into like a skill in your professional life is also you know, it's nice to argue that at the interview. So like, why are you a better salesperson? Like, hey dude, I'm from Uzbekistan. So I I have
Yeah,
said it, it worked. And so being creative, you know, finding ways where entrepreneurial nation, even though, okay, not entrepreneurial in a way like, you know, Elon Musk would do, but we
yeah,
get to do things, we get to create things out of nothing.
yeah,
And that is a life skill. Another thing you need to be able to do is to adapt to the environment where you are. So there's a lot of Uzbeks abroad that they live, still continue living a village Uzbek life. I'm sorry to say it, and you cannot succeed with integration or getting the opportunities equally. So you don't give up your values or culture, but you still need to respect where you are and just show some interest to that host culture. Learn a language or pick up some words that make you feel you're hospitable, you're humble towards that society. And then being adaptable is also to say like, okay, there's not everything that I accept on this, but you're not going to be antagonistic or hostile towards that, right? um, Another skill, perseverance. What I miss in our culture is getting things done.
yeah,
There's so many people writing me and wanting to do, they speak a lot, and they just disappear,
yeah,
you know. Or they ask you, say, oh, I really want to get something about Finnish education, and then you send them an email, you send them an offer, and then as long as they don't, they got the offer, they don't reply to anymore. So like be reciprocal and get things done. Like what you promise, you do. Deliver a promise. That's your reputation. So reputation, adaptability, and being able to build relationships, like authentic relationships, not use people. I do this joke. Mięsing ja перчатка и масман. You don't just take me off and just use and abuse. You need to be able to lead with integrity and just like be yourself, instead of like jumping on people's heads. I think that's not gonna lead you far.
Yeah. I think even in the US, what I've learned, that one of the most important things to learn is that always be on time and always get your work done, and
Right.
I think it's one of the great skills. It's not also a great communicator, it's good in everything, in life, in work, in whatever position that you are working in life, especially right now. Being a good communicator is good in everything. It's gonna
Absolutely.
it's gonna get you a job. It's gonna get you to so far places that you have no idea. And I think
I
that
agree.
and I think that one of the great characteristics that many of my mentors would say is that I'm a good communicator, and that's one of the good things, and I do recommend, like you said, having good communication skills is very, very, very necessary and important,
Right.
and I think that is very important. And so, to kind of, I think our life is about to end soon, and so to kind of end it off, what are some of the kind of advices and recommendation would you give to Uzbek men, Uzbek women, and just people around the world? And going back to the thing that you were saying, we definitely should have more events with you about coaching, about brand, creating your own brand, which is very important, I think. But yes, a little advice of yours to Uzbek people and Uzbek women and just people
Right.
around.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy to talk to you right now. We are separated by COVID, but also just the distance. I'm humbly proud to be on this show, because I need to tell you that we need each other as people. We are 34 million people. And just 2 weeks ago, I spoke to Kashkadaria's 60 public organization professionals about, building organizational culture, building inclusive workplace culture. And I think they probably heard first time what is a value-based organization, value-driven, value-led organization. So I want to ask you, what are you going to do to help give back to Uzbekistan with mentoring? If we are millions of Uzbeks abroad, let us be 100,000. Maybe if you mentor one student, you're going to make an impact in one student's life. We're going to make 100,000 students' life different with one conversation over Telegram. And right now, we need so much each other and give each other hope. And we know to overcome this pandemic, the suggestion from all the scientists, or even like, futurists, is that, and visionaries, is that we have no other chance but being inspiring and showing that the better future is possible, regardless how situation is right now. And as Uzbeks abroad, I'm very passionate to build the Uzbeks diaspora abroad, connections to Uzbeks locally, because there is so much curiosity going just between each other rather than, different cultures where we live. And so the suggestion is that finding your curiosity is also finding what makes you happy right now. Of course, we need to find jobs, but to do that, as I also lead in Finland, I work with a lot of immigrants and international students. I tell them to find your context and relevance. Curiosity is a free motivation, because once you're curious, you're really getting things done with that energy. I'm curious in this new hobby or in this new country and in this new area. And then once you go to curiosity, you find also who you are as identity. Don't think your Uzbek identity is bad for you. So embrace your multiple identities, your multiple languages, multiple territorial belongings. You're from New York, you're from Texas, you're from California. or you're from Russia, or you're from Ukraine, doesn't matter. We we need to shape our universal sense of identity to not to feel limited in our potential. And the same with gender. I never thought of, being a girl until I grew up, because that's when it became like limitless. And in Denmark, I had a lot of Uzbek guy friends because there were not many girls. And so we were getting along well. So think of how you embrace your identity, how you go through curiosity to lead, find your context and relevance. You're not going to be relevant for every employer, and you don't want to waste your time on this. But you need to know the context. Are we navigating COVID? So that means, what should you know to be useful in that environment? What helped me personally is not to connect my self-esteem on my achievements or how many conferences I joined, but to connect to how many people I was valuable for. So staying useful, right? So that gives you a sense of self, a bit grounded and more grateful, other than thinking, well, I lost my events. It's a hit on my professional identity, but I'm still a human being. So that beauty of being from where we come from, we are sunny people, kuyashlik, mihirlik adamlar, and that just brings you that joy of sharing with the world, because it reinforces. When you share, you get back, and that beauty of hope and spring, forever spring, what we have as a nation, I think it's amazing, and we should just be spreading it and not be greedy. So being useful right now, use your skills to mentor, be a mentor, get a mentor, be part of your community, and think how you're going to change our own country with more education, more opportunities, and give more women, more girls opportunities to study. Because 20 years I'm abroad, it's still not changed.
I know. And that
20 years, that's a whole generation. So I'm hopeful, and I'm working. I'm putting a lot of hours for this. We're going to bring this Uzbekistan with the female voice platform more to get more also connections. And I'm hopefully that we will cooperate with Uzbek Diaspora on that.
Yeah, definitely. That was a very, very great point, Kamilla, that you made. And I think it's very important. And hopefully there will be more women that is working on it. And I think that there is a lot of women that are working.
Yes, for sure.
Trying their best to make this social change to life, and I hope that it will definitely happen. And so if the audience has any questions, we can go ahead with that, but right now I don't really have questions, so I'm just gonna read some of the things that they were saying. I'm just gonna come with Maftuna, what she was saying. She said, I'm listening to girls and so proud.
Maftun, I'm proud of you, and so nice to cooperate last year. We had so much laugh with talking about sports in Uzbekistan.
Yeah,
she's incredible.
She's so amazing, I know. And this one right here too. She said, great point on finding yourself, knowing who you are as a starting point in personal and career growth. And I think that is great. All right, right now, and then now I guess we don't have another questions, and so we are going to end our live. Thank you so much, Kamilla, for coming and for speaking about your experiences and sharing your journey with us. It's beautiful, and I'm pretty sure that it gives so much motivation to so many Uzbek people around the world, and New York and Uzbekistan. And I'm so happy that that you did share it. And one more, thank you so much. She said that thank you for sharing your experience.
We're actually following each other on Facebook. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, and thank you for doing that. I think that your story is very unique and very important. And so thank you for
thank you, Taklo, and thank you for this beautiful platform. I wish you a great year ahead. And you cannot run away from me being Uzbek. Better embrace it and share the joy with the world.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.